Okay. Yeah. Fun. Good times. Anytime this is a real issue. I mean, in the sense that if like you like to smoke weed or have a little wine or something like that, because that kind of gets you in the mood, there's really nothing, uh, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a difference between like, I can only be intimate if I have a bunch of alcohol or something. But if there's ways that you tend to change your mood, sort of get out of your head and more into your body, then and I'm in California now, so I can say that go ahead and smoke a little weed if you want to. But I think aphrodisiacs, whatever they may be, I've never really found that eating oysters did it for me, but I guess some people do. So anyhow, there's that one. Arguing. Okay, my best tip for an argument is, my best tip for an argument, I would say, particularly if it's like one of your first arguments or something like that. The hardest thing I think to deal with in arguing is that oftentimes one person in the argument would really like to go for a walk. They would really like to say, can I just like decompress? I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to come back. And then what that does to the other person is it puts them in this position of like, you're walking away from me and you don't want to talk about this. No, we're going to figure this out now. And the best advice I can give you is, if you're one of those people, that's only 2 minutes. Okay, I got more time on this one. If you're one of those people that needs time, then what you need, the best way to get it is to say, I want to go for a walk and cool down. I will be back. Give me 5 minutes, okay? Because the other person needs to know that you're coming back and that you are going to talk about this. And then for the other person who freaks out, if you're generally that person, to force somebody to talk when they're angry, you're actually sort of volunteering for the whole situation to escalate. So if somebody asks for time and they do it in a way where they're saying like, I just need to go for a walk, I'm going to be back in 5 minutes and we can talk about this, it would probably be good for you to take a little time to calm down and get centered and get out of your fear place and your anger place. Because arguing, essentially, there's nothing wrong with having a disagreement. There's nothing wrong with arguing, but you want to do the least damage possible when arguing. And so you want to stay concrete. You want to stay, like, as far as discussing someone's actions, you want to say like, I noticed, last night that you, walked away from me, or that, something that's actually tangible. I use I notice, I imagine. So I notice you walked away from me when I said that. I imagine it's because I upset you with it. Is that true? Okay. So stay concrete and then talk about what's going on in your head, your point of view, and then ask if it's true. And that's how your argument can not escalate into something much bigger than it needs to be. And you might actually start to hear each other's point of view. Okay. Abandonment. Holy crap. Okay. Abandonment. An adult can't really abandon another adult. I suppose they could if they left you out in the desert with no water and no cell phone and no shoes. Abandonment, can be experienced when you're powerless. If you're powerless and someone chooses to leave you abandoned, then you are. However, to declare abandonment is really to declare complete powerlessness. And so I would caution you about taking on the identity of someone who's been abandoned in relationship. Yeah, I mean, there are even legal terms for abandonment in relationship when before divorce was pretty much no fault all over the place. But for instance, if you are actually abandonment was before no fault divorce in New York, it was 1 year without sex. So you were theoretically abandoning your partner because you are their only option for that normal part of their life and their health and their expression, right? And that's a commitment that you made. And so then you're abandoning that person in that area, essentially, because they are powerless in that, you know, aside from rape, they're powerless if they want to stay within their integrity, or in that case at the time, before no fault, actually be looked at by the law as having broken the agreement. So you can really only be abandoned if you are powerless. If you are powerless, yes. Okay, close enough. Okay, so what's next? What have we got here? Appreciation. Appreciation is everything. Appreciation is a synonym for love. Appreciation is an energetic, emotions are energetic wavelengths, right? They're energetic, what am I trying to say? Anyway, an appreciation is love. Appreciation is love. You know, you can, even you can just think about being in if you don't even want to be in a state of love, let's say that kind of confuses you because love is just, we sort of have this one word for everything in our culture. Go into a state of appreciation. And when you can be in a state of appreciation with your partner, that's when you can see them as the world sees them. And in fact, what often happens when people say, oh, I'm being taken for granted, what they're lacking, what they're missing in the relationship is actually appreciation. And so when somebody, let's say, meets somebody new who starts to see them through those different eyes, what it is that they're appreciating their qualities because they're sort of seeing them and noticing them for the first time. So whenever you can go into a state of appreciation with your partner, always a good thing. So, all right, what do we got here? Adultery. Adultery. What I will say about adultery that I can say in 2 minutes or less is that adultery is not the only form of betrayal in a relationship. You can betray each other financially, you know, and that will probably affect your life and your finances even longer than the actual adultery would. Adultery is very difficult to define in this day and age because every couple has, every person really has their own idea of what is adultery. Is looking at porn adultery? Is having a chat adultery? Is you know, go doing anything that that is emotional conversation, anything like that, any kind of sharing. Adultery needs to be defined specifically in your relationship, what you consider to be outside the lines. So, and if you want more amazing information on affairs, Esther Perel is an amazing therapist and writer, and she just came out with a new book called The State of Affairs, Rethinking Infidelity, and she's fascinating. So check it out. Okay. Accountability. Yes, have some. Okay. No, really, like, own your shit. That's what that's about, right? Oh, arguing, first fight. Yeah, we kind of talked about that. Stay on topic. And what else have we got? Apathy. Apathy. That's an interesting thing. I guess if you, I'm guessing that this person, I'm starting the timer over. I'm guessing that this person who put this in here might be thinking if your partner is apathetic. Apathy is definitely not on the love vibration, right? Apathy is I just no longer have concern, and your relationship does require anything good requires a certain amount of discipline and what might be called supreme concern. And so if you are apathetic or your partner's apathetic, then I would say that it would be important to go into that energy of appreciation and see if you can be in that place. And it's definitely a red flag in your relationship. If you just stop caring or you stop trying, yeah. So let's do one more. What do we got? Authenticity. Authenticity is everything. It's one of my top 3 qualities for a relationship. But when authenticity isn't only about being yourself, being authentic, it's really about the ability to allow, there's another A word, allow your partner to be authentic. And that takes a certain amount of courage, right? So you have to move from fear to love into that place. You have to be in appreciation of your partner so that you can allow them to be authentic. You can allow them to be who they fully are at home, out in the world, and even in the bedroom. So authenticity is really about your fullness as well. And so authenticity is something to really nurture in your relationship, and be courageous enough. Oh, there we go. Timer done. Be courageous enough not only to be authentic, but to allow your partner to be authentic. And okay, those are all the A's for today. So thank you so much for stopping by. Bye.